welcome to the college application process. As Courtney said, I'm Deb Long and I have been with Building Steps, I think it's a dozen years now as the writing director. And it's really just my job to help guide you through the essays and short answers, the written material on your Common App. And it's a great idea to start now. We're very excited and we appreciate your watching this short video to help explain the process and what the essay really is about and the opportunities you have in writing it.
Great. So Deb, can you just explain for our students what is the college essay?
Sure. So on the Common App, you have one opportunity to give an essay. There are some prompts that can help you to determine what you actually want to talk about, but it's really your chance to talk about you. And regardless of which prompt you use or what, if you use the free option topic, it's the only place on the essay that they're really looking for your personality, really some insight into who you are as a person. The reality of the college process is that they get a lot of information on paper, like your grades, your extracurriculars, your SAT scores or ACT scores. And this is the one spot where it's really totally up to you what you choose to present and how you choose to distinguish yourself from a bunch of students who really might have similar grades or scores or be in a similar on paper situation. This is your chance to really distinguish yourself.
Okay, so do you think that with the coronavirus right now, there will be any changes to how the college essays are looked at next year?
I think if anything, they are going to put more focus on the essay. I think people have had more time to think and write and be alone and be reflective on this. And I think that there is a chance, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do think there's a chance that perhaps all of these schools end up being test optional, or at least some of them are test optional. And if that's the case, then your essay is going to have increased importance relative to the rest of your application since the SAT or ACT scores are not there.
Great, thank you. I do think it's important to note that we don't really know what's going on with whether schools will still require the SAT or which ones will. So it's good to know that students kind of have this to improve their application and sort of add more focus. So why is the essay so important?
So the essay is so important because it demonstrates to an admissions officer or someone who's reading your application what you choose to define as yourself, how you see yourself as a person. And I think that it's really important in terms of giving some insight into your personality and what distinguishes you. It's also a chance for you as students to explain a special circumstance or something that maybe sticks out in a negative or positive way on your application. It gives you a chance to really own that and explain it and use it to your benefit. That being said, you know, any circumstances that really distinguish you, whether it be a family situation, having moved from another country, or any event that or trauma, quite frankly, that you've undergone, that is something that you can say does not happen to most other people, is an easy way to start this process if you're willing to share that personal information. And again, it doesn't have to be some wahoo moment in your life or some really extraordinary event. Some of the best essays that we've ever read at Building Steps have really been about a hobby or a habit that just speak to that person and their personality and how they run. If you have something major and you're willing to share it, then that works for you. If not, one of the best essays I've ever read had to do with a student who used to borrow his grandfather's car on Sunday to go to his job. And because of the way his mind worked and his personality worked, every Saturday night when his grandfather came in, he would have to literally physically take the car out of the driveway and back it in because he did not want to start his Sunday in reverse. And he made it into this fantastic essay about how that kind of an order and structure is something that has always resonated with him as a person and formed his personality.
That's awesome. Thanks for giving a good example. What are some examples of not so good topics or topics to avoid?
Sure. And again, some of these are what I would call stereotypical responses. I think that in general, they tend to repeat things that are already on your application. Things like the time I scored the winning goal in a soccer game and it changed my life. It's a little trite. Or a one-time volunteer experience that was eye-opening to you. That's something that a lot of people have experience with and could actually write the same essay, whether it be from me, from my son, from Courtney. A lot of us have had those common experiences. Another thing to avoid is kind of going through the list of things in my curriculars. Like, I am a type A person, and as you can see, I've been vice president of this and on the council of that. Just to kind of give a narrative form of your resume is something that they already know. Again, what they're really looking for is insight into you as a person and what makes you tick and what distinguishes you as a scholar, student, person from someone else who may have similar academic records.
Awesome. So they should really focus on what makes them unique and avoid things that were already on their application.
Absolutely. It's the one chance where your voice alone and what you choose gets to shine through. So whatever you really want someone to know about you is probably the best essay that you can provide.
Awesome. So what should students start thinking about that might be helpful to get them brainstorming different topics?
So Courtney has put together some lists of brainstorming prompts, which are very helpful and really speak to accomplishments or moments that have shaped you, which is always helpful, whether it be a hobby, an event that happened to you, an accomplishment that you're particularly proud of. Those are all great starting points. In addition, I would say, is there a hobby or is there a trait? Is there a habit that you have that speaks to you as a person? That's also something interesting. And I think another thing to think about is when I say it's your choice to have your voice and show you as a person, if this essay landed on the floor of your school without your name on it, a really good essay would be some random stranger picks it up and says, oh, that's got to be Deb Long. I know her. That's her. That kind of insight into your personality and your being as a person is what they're really looking for, regardless of which prompt you use or what topic you choose.
Great, thanks. So do you want to just explain for our students what the process will be and how Building Steps is going to help them write their college essay?
Sure. So how it typically works is about this time of year, we start to get together and brainstorm and think of topics. And then you begin the writing process as soon as you're able, but hopefully by the summer. And our goal is to really, you will work with me or with another writing advisor, someone, and mostly by email, to help you edit and make sure that you're on the right track and that the essay is really looking solid and clean and understandable. And then the final process is editing. And that means really going over each sentence, each punctuation mark with a fine-tooth comb and making sure that it's kind of picture perfect writing. Hopefully we get that done before the academic year starts, because we know how stressful and overwhelming school and looking through colleges individually can be. So I will offer it now that I am home a lot and have plenty of time. So if you have any brainstorming ideas or want to bounce a topic off or anything, an essay maybe that you've written somewhere, would this work? You may feel free to email it to me. Again, the earlier you can start this process, the better. And then hopefully we end up with a really, really fine piece of writing that you're proud of and you feel provides insight into you before the academic year starts again.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Deb. I will make sure that students get your email address and contact info when I share this with them. And thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Be safe and sane.